All right, welcome moms in real estate to our Monday morning show. And this Monday it's going to look a little bit different because we're doing a masterclass with our partner Heather Keller. And if you don't know Heather, you should. We were just joking around because Heather is like the queen of all things distress, but really when it comes to distress listings, building a niche in the foreclosure and short sales, Heather does all of it. And today Heather's going to be with us, and I'm really excited because she's going to walk us through two of the best kept secrets for distress listings. And so, yes, welcome, friend. I'm excited to turn it over to you and learn from you. How are you?
I'm great. It's Monday, so but I'm happy to be here and hopefully everyone else will really enjoy what I have to say because I love to
Yes.
talk. So we're going to try to fit all this in 45 minutes. But I'll provide all of my information in case there's questions.
Okay, awesome. And just so that everybody's aware, because sometimes we get this question, so you can either jump in the Zoom room with us now, or you can watch live on our Facebook or our YouTube. And of course, we will also have this, recorded on our YouTube channel as well as a watch back Wednesday, and it'll go out in our email. So if you have to jump off the call early or you have to stop the stream early, don't worry, you will have a recording. All right, friend. Well, feel free to share anything about yourself that you want, but go ahead and kick it off. It's all yours.
All right. Well, I don't love talking about myself. So if you want to know more, you can certainly Google me. There's so much information out there about short sales. I love them. And hopefully after this presentation, you might as well. So that's all I'm going to say because I know we have a lot to cover. So I'm going to share my screen and
Well,
we're
hold
going
on.
to.
So I'm going to toot Heather's horn for a second. So Heather has built, she's found a niche, right? And she's built something by design that has allowed her to be present with her family and to put her family first and to build a freaking beautiful home that I like drool over. Heather's home is like drool worthy. I always am in awe of it. And so I just love that you are one of those agents that found the 20% that you could put energy in and time and effort into, focused on it, and doesn't get distracted by trying to do all the things. She does what she does very, very well. And she's going to walk us through that. So we're excited to have you, Heather.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had time to tell my whole story, but like literally my husband and I were completely broke and we had nothing. So I do see a lot of people commenting like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm not making any money." Look, if you want to be in real estate, you do have to spend money to make money. And so the things that I'm going to teach today, it's not a lot of money, but it is something. And so we started here and we grew here, and yeah, like you said, we built our dream home. We're getting ready to put in a pool this summer. So lots of really exciting stuff for us, but it takes time. Okay. It doesn't happen overnight. So this is long-term stuff. Okay. So I'm not telling you to stop your current business, but implement some of this in here. Okay. So my two best kept secrets. Now I've been, and you've probably been on my presentations before. These two things are what I do every single day, weekly, monthly inside of my business. Just this, okay? So, secret number one is auction date leads, okay? So, a lot of families in an auction date status believe that there's no other options, which is so false, okay? This has always been, since 2007, my number two lead source. And we are going to get into more specifics, how much, what I actually make, okay? Because I want to prove to all of you that if you're looking for a niche that is very family friendly, that is, no working on the weekends, it's here, okay? So, you got to get the lead. So I'm just going to take you through some bullet points. We don't have a ton of time to go super in depth. I'm going to provide all of my information at the end. I want you to reach out. Okay. So the first thing is leads. I do have a 5-day free trial with Property Radar. I've tested a lot of systems over the years. Okay. This one by far is the best. So just take it from me. That way you don't have to spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to figure out all these other systems, okay? But I do have this free 5-day trial, okay? Let me just show you the auctions. Now, inside of my coaching community, I love to make videos and I love to make things very simple, okay? I do think that real estate in general, it's overcomplicated. And so I will teach you how to make a list of all of the counties that you want to work, how to make the list, how to make the field set, how to download the leads, how to organize the leads, okay? If organization scares you, you'll love me afterwards, okay? So auction date leads is where it's at. The reason why we like Property Radar is because auction date leads, it will tell you when the auction is. It will give you so many different details, okay? And that's what we need. A lot of people are like, oh, I get leads from title companies. Probably, I know it's free, but free ain't always the best thing. So I think this is like $119 a month. It does work with my number 1 lead source and my number 2 lead source. Okay, so we're starting with number 2. That's auction date leads. Okay, so this is where it's at. You want a 5-day free trial? I'll give you all my contact information at the end, and I'll give you this link. Okay. So let's talk about direct mail marketing. I have been sending the same thing every single week for 14 years. Okay. And at the end of the year, I always do like a game planning class in my coaching community to help agents get organized and analyze their year. And I do the same thing. This has always been year after year after year, my number 2 lead source. And I'm going to tell you my averages per month and all that. Okay. So just hold on, because I know there's going to be questions. But right now we are sending a flow chart. Okay. So there are a lot of families that are in severe denial when they call you that have this auction. Okay. And just so you're aware, FHA, VA government loans, they are on the rise, huge rise. Okay. So we want to get in touch with these families that have an auction date every single week, not every other week, not every month, not inconsistent. Got to be every single week. So we teach you how to set up the list, how to pull the data, how to organize it. What day can you do that the same every single week? Okay. So every single Wednesday, my team goes in, pulls all the data from Property Radar. They go in, there's a set of things they do to analyze it, and they prepare our letter and our flow chart. Now, the flow chart is basically exactly what it is. Hey, do you want to keep your house? Here's the options. And there's QR codes for these families to download a written explanation of the option or a video of me. So that not only are they getting to know me, but they're getting the true options, not searching on the internet, not going to other agents for bad advice, and sometimes even attorneys. So it has worked wonders. I'm getting several calls. Okay. But the whole point here is to market to these families with an auction every single week. And the direct mail marketing can't be boring. Okay. All these years, I've tested everything already. So I know what works and what doesn't work. Okay. So what to send? Letter, which we have the letters already, or there's a postcard option, and a flow chart. Flow chart is so good. Okay. Number 3, consistency. So if you think you can come in and just send a letter once a month, no, those families needed our help like yesterday. Okay. It has to go out every single week. So if you are not committed to sending letters and flow charts out to these auction families every week, then it's not going to work. Okay. It may sound like a lot at first, but the whole idea is for you to understand and process and get organized and consistent with this, and then delegate it out. I don't even do it anymore. I haven't in like 10 years. My team pulls the data, looks it up, blah, 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 sends it out. Okay. So my expert opinion is sending to auction date leads versus pre-foreclosure are going to be it for you. Okay. The reason why is because when a family is in a pre-foreclosure status, they know whether it's judicial or non-judicial that they have time. The families that have auction, time is not on their side. Okay. So I had a lady call me last week. She had an auction date in 24 hours. I gave her some simple steps, which that is my number 1 lead source. We'll talk about that in a second. And she did it, but she can't keep the house. Okay. So that is a lead. So I'm getting calls every single week from the flow charts. Will we be able to help everyone at that very moment? No. Will it always be a no? Nope. You need a follow-up plan? No problem. We got one. All right. So number 4, on average, since 2010, I actually started real estate in 2007, but I wasn't as good as keeping track of all my stuff until, maybe a few years in. So just from the auction dates. Now remember, that's my number 2 lead source. So I decided to go back through and count all of those deals. I had some extra time and I'm just crazy, right? Okay, so on average, now some years it's been like, wow, and I am going to show you my income, which I don't love to do, but I want you to know that you can make money in distress sales. How many deals do you think I've closed on average per month? So I gave like a small range on average just from the auction date leads, okay? Any guesses?
Jackie, what's your guess? Mine is 4.
I would say 5 or 6.
Now the ones
Okay.
in the Zoom room, yeah, you can drop in the chat too.
Yeah.
But
So
4 to
right
6.
now, the last couple of years have been a little off because of all of the forbearances and COVID. And I know COVID was 5 years ago, but oh my gosh, I just had someone else get a forbearance. Okay. So my last couple of years didn't quite help with those numbers, but it's about 2 to 3 just from the auctions. Okay. Last week we mailed 221 letters. Okay. 221 letters to families that have an auction date. And that didn't even include all of them because we do try to send it at least 2 weeks out. Okay. So that's what went out last week. That drastically went up from the prior week. Okay. So 221 letters. We buy the flow charts in bulk. I think they were like 13 cents a piece. I do have a printing company. Happy to give you some discounts. But stamps are 73 cents. Okay, right? So you could do the numbers. It's actually a really low cost option for getting leads. But the key is the consistency. And I think that's where a lot of agents fail. They send it out a couple weeks. Guess, some weeks I don't get any calls. Some months I don't get any calls. I didn't get any calls in January or half of February. Well, it's just because it's crappy here in the Midwest, right? No one wants to call. They just shove it underneath the rug and wait and deal with it when the weather gets better. Okay. But it's actually really a low cost option. Okay. And I'm saying that because look, with a short sale, you should be getting 3.5%. So here's an average just here where I'm at. Obviously, some averages will be higher, some will be lower. But on a short sale, the bank is going to pay 3.5%. They typically give 2.5% to the buy side. I have not had any issues with banks thus far with all of the changes. Now, will a bank cut it? Sometimes. It is rare. There are a handful of banks that will cut it to 2.5%. Who cares? You never know what that deal could lead to down the road. So, like I closed a few years ago a deal that was like 75,000. It turned into another deal that was over $1 million. So remember, it's really helping the homeowner. Okay. So you close one deal, just one deal. It pays for your marketing for the entire year. Okay. Okay. That's number 1. Now, my number 2 lead source is bankruptcy leads. Everyone's like, how, why, and why would you even consider that? Well, look, my business since 2007 has not been conventional. Everything about it is non-traditional. Okay. Bankruptcy leads have been my number 1 lead source years and years and years. Guess what? Property Radar just implemented a bankruptcy section. We can now see all the families that are in a 7, a 13. So we have a whole course on how to get in front of those families. But the best part is, oh my gosh. So look, if you click on the bankruptcy data, it will show you who their attorney is, which for me, that's awesome because I want to go straight to the attorney and I want to provide all of our resources to help this attorney. You partnering with a bankruptcy attorney adds value and revenue to their firm. Okay. I know I'm like sometimes over the top, but whatever. Okay. So look, this person's in bankruptcy, right? So you can go down here Well, it was dismissed, but so now you can see bankruptcy attorney. Oh my gosh. Well, let's keep track of that, right? We got a Google spreadsheet. We got organization for everything. So how do we keep track of these 7s, these 13s, and the attorneys? That is all in the course. I'm going to briefly show you that in a little bit. Okay. But this right here, this was like Christmas in July last year when we realized that this was happening. Okay. It is huge. These bankruptcy attorneys have the clientele that you need to help. Okay. All right. So what are we sending? So chapter 7 is very different than chapter 13. Okay. There's a letter where we have created a QR code that explains in brief, not attorney verbiage, very simple for a 7 and a 13. Okay. Then last year I wrote a book, The Ultimate Guide to Selling Your Home During or After Bankruptcy. That explains exactly that for a 7 and a 13. So that book is a valuable resource to homeowners in a 7 or 13, or maybe it was dismissed or just discharged, and for these bankruptcy attorneys. They can have it electronically. You can put it in a flip book. You can have physical copies at their office. So my team does go in every single week and research this data. Okay. So right now in our community, Tuesday is bankruptcy day. So we're learning everything bankruptcy, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. Okay. So number 3, the biggest one is the bankruptcy attorney relationships. Now, it does take time to build those relationships, but these attorneys will be so impressed with the resources that you have. And I have other resources. I'll touch on them later. Lots of books, lots of valuable information for homeowners, so they know that they can be in this one-stop shop, file a bankruptcy, and then that bankruptcy attorney is going to refer you. Okay. So again, consistency, here we go. So bankruptcy attorneys are my number 1. And they consistently give me business. We'll talk about how many, on average in a minute. My experience is you want to find firms that are small to medium size, not some big firm. They ain't going to give you the time of day. We want the small to medium sized firms because you can really show them how adding you as a partner will grow their firm. Okay. Whether there's attorneys used for real estate transactions or not, they can still get paid. I've done it with the attorneys here. They love me. In fact, one of my guys is going to come on soon and talk about that whole experience. And it's been like 10 years. Okay. On average, how many deals do I close a month from bankruptcy attorneys? So the auction date was like 2 to 3. Now, some months I don't close any. Some months it was like 10. So again, this is just an average, okay? 1. Okay, cool. So remember, bankruptcy is my number 1 lead source. Auction date is my number 2. So my number 2 lead source was 2 to 3 a month. Some months were none, some were 1. Bankruptcy is going to be about double. So, 3 to 4. Okay. Some weeks I get a ton of attorney introductions. Some weeks I don't get anything. Okay. I do have, so now let's talk about my current relationships. I have about 10 attorney relationships. Okay. About half of those I get very, very consistent leads from. Okay. The other 5, maybe a couple a year. They don't do a ton of bankruptcies, but I know when a bankruptcy comes and they have a house, they're going to come to me because of that relationship building, because of the resources I give to them. Okay. Okay. So inside of my coaching community, every single Tuesday right now, since the beginning of January, yes, everything's recorded, is dedicated to bankruptcy. Okay. You want to learn the ins and outs. I should have went to law school to become a bankruptcy attorney. I am not a bankruptcy attorney, but I know probably more than they do about how it works hand in hand with selling during or after chapter 7 and chapter 13. So if you want to learn that and you want to spread that knowledge in your community, you'll stand out. Okay. All right, so those are our number 1 and number 2. Now this next slide is the income, okay? So how did I get to this point? What word do I use all the time? It's consistency. So every single week, those letters go out. The only time I give my team a break is Christmas, okay? The reason why is because we usually travel and I don't want my phone to ring. So consistency, consistent with the letters, consistent with communicating with those families in a 7 and a 13 because they don't know the process. It is confusing, okay? And then building or maintaining those attorney relationships, okay? And then of course, I do have a really fabulous community. I'm going to show you it. There's so much support inside of there. It's a way that we collaborate. We collaborated together on that flow chart, okay? But consistency is key. You're probably wondering why 2020 was like a fabulous year. I got a lead from a postcard, and it was a 1.5, 1.6. I don't remember the exact amount. And I actually found the buyer. So I was pretty sure that the bank was going to cut my commission because I asked for 6% and they did not. I definitely passed out when the bank sent the approval letter because it was 6% off of that large deal. That's why those deals come about, but probably not as often as we would like, right? So I think I'm due like maybe every 5 years. So we'll see what happens this year. Okay, so let me give you a sneak peek of the blueprint. And again, I'm going to give you all my information because I know there's a lot to go over and I'm talking really fast. But I actually have 5 courses. I'm only going to talk about the 2 today, but I am going to touch on the other 3, okay? So our auction date blueprint is exactly that. If you want something that's super easy, and I've done all the videos. I recreated last summer like 500 videos. It will take you through step by step from the very beginning to closing the deal, okay? Setting up the leads, getting consistent. Here's the auction date postcard. Here's the auction date letter, okay? Here's the equity letter. If you have an area that has a lot of equity still and there's not short, well, then you would replace it with this letter. Organization. So I know there's a lot of people out there that just sell their stuff and give you like 40% of what they do. This is 100% of where I got today. I do this because I want to help the families across the country, and I cannot do that unless you, the agent, is properly educated. Okay. There's not any deal that I can't get through. So if we had time to go over all of the craziness I've seen, I would definitely do that. We should have another day where, let's talk about the murder stories. Okay. Text prep campaigns. Now look, I know there's a lot of issues with text messages. Always do the right thing with the do not call list, all of that. Okay. So you're not looking over your shoulder and just wondering. Okay. This is about the families. This is not about you just taking on more deals. It will come with time. What do you do when you get calls? How do you help the family if the answer is a no right now? Or maybe it's a yes. And then tips to postponing those auctions, pre-listing, listing, the actual listing, step by step, what to say in the verbiage and all that. And then you get a short sale offer, the short sale packets. We have all of those for you. We have all the lender contact information. How do you deal with a second mortgage? Anyone do an FHA short sale lately? Or ever? They are complicated. Thursday, inside of my coaching community, we are doing an FHA short sales plus partial claims training. Okay. I did that because I spent a whole entire weekend trying to explain an FHA short sale to an agent here, and it was a nightmare. I really, truly believe that every single agent, whether you're taking on short sales or not, you have to have that background of FHA because it's not like in conventional short sale, okay? So BPO process, the approval letter, what do you do then? Your job's not done. And then closing. Lots and lots of videos, but they are simple. Like I always tell people, like a kindergartner can probably do it. Well, maybe not really, but my 5th grader could. So there's that one. And then we have the bankruptcy. So bankruptcy right now is a big thing in our group. Okay. So we started in January and we started going through each lesson. So all of that's been recorded. So you're able to go back and watch those. Why are we doing that now? Well, because Property Radar has that data, but it took me from July until December to come up with this course. Okay. Plus I wrote the book. So how to set up leads for 713, how to organize that. Here is the marketing for bankruptcy leads. There's a postcard, a letter. This is the book. So we left off, and tomorrow, is it Monday? Yep. Tomorrow we are going to start and we are going to go through the book. It's probably going to take us 3 weeks. An overview, explaining a 7. I get really giddy about this kind of stuff. I know for you guys, bankruptcy is probably super boring, and it might be, but guess what? It can make you a lot of money and you can help a lot of people in your community. Okay. Consistency, pulling the data, organizing with your attorneys. Okay. An optional prep for text campaign. All right. Here's the attorney stuff. So how do you connect with them? Best ways to connect. How do you get involved with the bar associations? Other resources you can give these attorneys, okay? And then you're going to start to get calls. So all of this will be walked through carefully in the lessons. Like I said, right now we're on the book. Tuesdays are dedicated to all bankruptcy. So by the time we get through this course, which my guess is in probably June, you will be so armed with dealing with bankruptcy leads, and you will feel comfortable going in front of these bankruptcy attorneys and explaining to them and showing them how partnering with you can be added value and revenue to their firm. Okay. So again, it takes you all the way through. And then there's the recordings. Okay. Let me move myself. I already did the bankruptcy. Okay, so to join the community is $20 a month. That's it. Like no long-term commitments. If you decide you hate me, which this right here, this is how all my trainings are. Look, we deal with a lot of stuff, okay? And I try to make it fun and exciting, but lots and lots of collaboration, okay? So when I say that, this is the community, okay? Super organized. Everyone always knows what's going on. Here's FHA partial claims. We have a mission of helping 10,000 families. The document for our FHA training is already up. So this is what we're covering. Crucial questions to ask up front. Overview of an FHA short sale. What is a partial claim? Why reviewing the title commitment is so crucial. How is a partial claim handled when selling? Understanding it in a short sale situation or an equity sale. So all of this is being covered on Thursday. But this is where people ask questions. So like Olga, she was vulnerable and she posted, hey, I wish I was consistent because I could have gotten this deal last summer. And, you know, we want you to come to us when you have a bad day or a good day. But people post here and questions get answered. I either make a video or we'll get on the phone and call. But it's all right here. So lots of questions. Okay. $20. That's it. That includes our Tuesday bankruptcy trainings. It also will include any special trainings. So we've had a special training on Property Radar in January. We had a special training on our flow charts. And this upcoming Thursday is FHA short sales. We will have my attorney coming on soon. We'll do VA short sales, reverse mortgages as well. Okay. So yeah, $20 a month, no long-term commitments. Like I said, if you decide you hate us, you can leave. So that would be the first step. You really can't, I mean, you could get the courses without this, but it's just, it's not going to help your business. Okay. That's why it's $20 a month. Super easy. Come in. There's 3 years worth of trainings in the group. You can find anything. It's insane. Okay. So once you come, then each of these 2 courses are 20% off with the membership. Okay. So $557, that's it for auction as well as the bankruptcy. So all of that stuff, all of the marketing, the book, everything is editable in Canva, or you can hire my design coordinator if you want. But everything you can edit yourself. Okay. All step by step. Everything is there. Everything I use, all the supplies I use, the discounts for the printing company, everything. Okay. So Here's the thing. Here's the bonus. So with the purchase of the course, the flow chart is automatically in the confirmation email. Okay. So for this group only, for moms in real estate, you get the monthly membership and you purchase those 2 courses. I will give you instant access to the other 3 courses. Okay. That is just this group and it's only for 48 hours. The reason why I'm doing that is because a lot of people are on the fence. Don't be on the fence. This is the awesomest place to niche down and, get heavily involved with your community, okay? So just so you are aware, let's take a look real quick. Here is the store. So the pre-foreclosure lead generation blueprint is normally this. It is 8 letters. So if you do want to target pre-foreclosures and you have a lot, we also use Property Radar, okay? Free. 2 books every distressed home seller needs. Those 2 books are also other resources you are going to give those to those attorneys. It's Ideas to Avoid Foreclosure, as well as The Ultimate Guide to Selling Your Home as a Short Sale, free. And then we have Building Powerful Attorney Relationships, which this will take you dive in deeper with finding the attorneys, how to sponsor bar association events to get in front of more. Inside the group, we have different flyers for those types of events. So just to recap, Flowchart is free with the purchase of the course. It's already in the confirmation email. You join the community. The 2 courses, Auction and Bankruptcy, my number 1 and number 2 lead source, 20% off. Get those 2, then you will get instant access to those other 3 courses. Okay. Until Wednesday. The reason why I decided to do that is because we have that huge training on Thursday. It is at 10 a.m. Central, and it's all about FHA and partial claims. Okay. So I had a member reach out to me and was like, look, I have a closing next week. Oh my gosh, there's a partial claim on the title. And I was like, you didn't reveal the title. You have to review the title. So a lot of times with these partial claims, there's no equity. So like there's certain things that you have to do up front, questions to ask, what to review, how to go about it, how to get a payoff. So it is a huge, huge training. We've been anticipating this for a while. Who knows, it may be 2 hours, I'm not sure, but usually they're around an hour to an hour and a half. Yes, it's recorded, so you could always come back and watch the recording, okay? All right, I know that was a lot, and I finished in like record time, but I do want to answer any questions, and my email is there. If you're in the Chicagoland area, I'm sorry, we're currently not accepting any new members, but you can still email me and get put on a wait list. I do try to make these areas not, a ton of agents because our marketing is so unique. Okay. So that's the only area that's closed right now.
Okay, so I'm watching online as well because we have a couple questions coming on there, so I'll ask those. But I want to be selfish and I want to ask, have you had any experience with the reverse mortgage issue, like when the owner passes and there's a clause that says like it has to be sold in 30 days? Is that something you've handled before?
Most reverse mortgages, I do have a reverse mortgage client right now.
Okay.
Where she has passed, but it's a no right now from those people. So I have a follow-up plan in place with him, and the son is living there. So have I dealt with that? Yes, it's been a long time because most of them I currently did, they have still lived there. So the process is similar to like an FHA or VA. But it's still, a lot of times it is a short sale because remember the taxes are an issue, at least here, property taxes. So the one that I completed recently, there were no property taxes were paid. So we had to and it was a short sale and we had to put on the statement like 40 grand worth of taxes. Okay. I'm in Illinois. The taxes here are ridiculous. So, but yeah, so reverse mortgage training will be coming. But what we're seeing right now is more of the FHA and VA. So I'm a nerd. I like to keep track of data. And so we have all the short sales I have going on right now are FHA. So let's just put it that way. But yeah,
Okay.
reverse mortgages, it's a little bit different if they are alive or if they are not alive.
I just asked because I had a situation. So I had a client referred to me from another agent, and the father passed away, and so the son was the trustee on the trust, and
Okay.
they were kind of under the impression that they would be selling dad's home, and then they would take the probably 1-2-1-3 that the 1-2 to 1-3 that we get in selling it, and then split that with his siblings as part of the trust. And in
Okay.
actuality, we had two issues. One, that the property was never properly put into the trust. And secondly, that dad never told anybody he had a reverse mortgage. So it took us about probably about 3 months just to figure out that there was a reverse mortgage and who had it. And now the situation has drastically changed to where it's more like there's a possible $25,000 net to be split 3 ways.
Wow.
Because the reverse mortgage was on the property for so long and basically ate the entire equity.
Yep. So and that's the big thing with FHA, similar, is that these families know they have the mortgage, obviously, but when someone gets a loan mod, it's a partial claim. And so it eats away the equity, similar, right? So there's definitely some
Right.
questions. And I've updated the financial questionnaire, that the homeowner financial questionnaire recently, to really reflect these types of situations. Like we have to, even in a traditional sale, like the lady that I met with last week
Mhm.
has no mortgage. It was a referral from another foreclosure that I'm working on. And I'm still doing my due diligence and having, trying to look at title and all this, because she said there's no mortgage, but also the person died. So it could have been the same situation where
Right.
there was a reverse mortgage. There's not. But yeah, there's just a lot of due diligence up front and questions that I ask. So sorry you went through
Mm.
that.
That's okay. That's okay. We're still in it, but I love, like you said, it's funny because so as an agent who's just doing traditional real estate sales at this time, I've dabbled over on the short sale side, but it's been years. I do have a questionnaire, but I think you bring up a really valid point, and I think it speaks to even more that you offer. Is like, I thought to myself too, like, dang, we got to, like, our questionnaire, we got to catch a couple more things. Like, we also had an HOA demand come in with unexpected cost. And it was
Yep.
just little tiny things. So I was like, there's just so many little things that we're missing that we don't know to ask until you've had the experience. So I think that's valuable. One of the questions online, well, I actually have a couple of them. Are short sales more common in certain price ranges or property types?
No, it's not. My team pulls that data every single week, and sometimes we see 100,000. Um, and we're sending letters that people owe like 2 million. So it is all over the board. Our mission and goal inside of the community is to help everyone. I used to do short sales. I mean, they're not around now, at 25,000, because I knew, look, you never know what it could lead to. And those types of deals have led to other deals for me. So we do want to help everyone, because you never know what business it could turn into. But they're all over the board. It's not just, the lower income or just the higher. No, it's all done, all
Well,
deals.
and that would probably include like market types, right? So urban, suburban, rural, like you probably see a mix of those as well.
A mix. Yep, definitely
Yeah.
a mix. I mean, I'm in Chicagoland, so I see, I have someone inside of the community that is dedicated to the city. I don't love going to the city anymore, so I do mostly the suburbs, but it's the city numbers are pretty high.
Got it. Got it. So how do you educate local homeowners about short sale options before they default? Is that something you do, or are you just kind of the resource once they are in default?
So I've done a lot of local events. So local events is a really great thing to do, because you have the resources, like those books that I wrote, inside of the community. You have access to those. Everything you can have edited in Canva on your own. So I have done events at the local library, or you get involved with your chamber of commerce, and you can do either online events or in-person events to educate people of their options, essentially like the flow chart we're using. And you could just mirror that and do community events at the chamber or the library. I've done those before and I've had a lot of success, but you know, my bread and butter is the auction and the attorneys right now.
I love that. Jackie, you said this would have helped your last sell?
Oh yeah.
Was it a tough one?
They stopped paying, I believe 6 months ago when we accepted contract.
Mm.
Day of closing, shit hit the fan, and they didn't have enough to close, and then they're like, oh, and we forgot to tell you guys, we applied for a short sell through the lender. So yeah.
Yeah, so like communication is one of the pillars inside of our group. Not only do I communicate with my coaching members there, but it's so crucial to take certain steps, and it's simple, and communicate with the sellers. And there's certain ways to go about it when we communicate. But you would think when you sit down and take a listing appointment that these sellers would tell you everything. Yeah, I had a
Right.
loan mod, I got an FHA. Oh yeah, I spoke to the bank and they're going to do a short sale. Like, no, and we are going to see more of that, especially with the rise of these government loans in default. Not everyone can sell with equity. You know, I have one lady right now that hadn't made a mortgage payment in 5 years. Like, so there's just so much involved. But what I don't like to see is that these agents take on these deals without being either involved with some sort of group in their brokerage, or like, for example, my community, the short sales work no matter where you're at. But you don't want to get your sellers in a pickle. If you don't know how to deal with the ins and outs of foreclosure and how your state processes it and dealing with the banks, shame on you, because that seller probably will go to foreclosure and it's your fault.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. So if this is whether you want, I mean, you could just come into the coaching community and never get a course. At least you're educated about the process and the classes and everything. Obviously, I want more for you if this is the niche that you want to do, but I don't know. I could talk all day about that. I think just lately, the questions that I've had with these agents here locally, it's just, I want every agent to be properly educated. So, and I don't think you'll find that in any CLE credits or.
So one of the questions off of the YouTube, Heather, is I keep hearing short sales are making a comeback. How do I actually get funded starting these? Would that be was it Property Finder that you talked about?
So,
Property
yes,
Radar?
you can find all the data there. The problem is you're going to log in, you're going to get the 5-day free trial, and you're going to be stuck because how do you find the data? Which of that data is the data you want to use?
Right.
So my biggest thing is, if this is a niche that you want to take on, send me an email, and I would highly recommend just start with the coaching community. Yes, we have this great promotion going on right now. Get both courses, get all 5 then, right? But you don't have to. You could just come in and start joining our sessions and learning from that, okay? Because there's 3 years worth of data. But it would start, like, you have to get the leads. That's the first start. Yeah. And Property Radar is, for me, the best lead source.
Yeah, and we'll get your link so that everybody can sign up with that too. I think this is a really good one. How do I even know if short sales are happening in my market?
Yeah, so I love data. So shoot me an email and tell me your state and a few different counties you would be interested in. I'm pretty certain, because I look up data all over the country all week long, there's going to be auctions in your area. But people who aren't dealing with this on a daily basis think that there's none around. There are.
Yeah.
I used to work like 9 different counties here in Chicagoland. Okay. I've since scaled back because I have coaching members in those other counties, but you could work a few different counties and drive an hour and a half to a deal because you are taught to go there one time. You don't have to be an expert on that market. You have to be an expert or a specialist in how their bank processes the short sale. So
That's
yeah,
so good.
they're around everywhere.
Well, I'm just going to say guilty. Like, I'm going to tell our marketing team, we've got to get an email out and let everybody know about this special, because I just want to be so transparent as a successful, agent that has just been going. Sometimes we just don't stop and pause, and we don't actually realize what's out there for us to build. And we're quick to jump into these, lead sources, and we start paying for these different lead sources and these different things. And we don't realize that we could actually develop skill and a niche all in one. And the skill can match the niche and set us apart. And I just think that what Heather's offering is so fantastic. And I also, Heather, have to tell you that when you just said that about the second market, I'm sorry, you didn't say it about the second market. You said about other markets, other counties. It just made my radar go off, because there's a second market that I want to serve. And it's adjacent to me, and I've been wanting to serve it. And I've just been trying to get my butt in gear. And something that just came up, I was having a conversation with one of the wives of the prison guard. So it's a heavy prison town. So their livelihood is 2 large prisons. And California has closed a massive amount of prisons. And so they're closing down their prisons. And all I can think about is and I'm not happy about this at all. I'm brokenhearted, but the economic impact, because you're going to lose all your prison guards. You're going to lose their wives that are the nurses and the teachers, and you're going to lose your football coaches. And so I just think economically, this entire town is going to take a really big hit. And so
What's
I'm just
the county,
thinking
Randy?
Lassen. Yeah, it's Lassen County. I just Lassen. It's a smaller area, but I just think the only way that I'll be able to help people is to know their options, because they're going to get into tough positions. The entire town's going to take a hit.
Yeah, so if you see, this is really cool. There's 456 vacant homes in that area right now. 172 bankruptcies. That's crazy just for a small area. There's only 4 options.
They all just got put out of work, Heather. They're all the population. I mean, it was 20% of the population was employed by the Department of Corrections, and they shut one of the prisons down.
Yeah, so that's where I love coming up with game plans for people, okay, right? I always want people to do auction and bankruptcy, just because I can help you mirror exactly what I've done. But for something like this, Randy, this is where you would come in and start having monthly, or maybe every other Saturday, or an evening, one evening, one Saturday, an educational seminar or something. Bring in coffee, donuts. They can come in and get educated on the options that they have before it's too late.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I love this. And what I also want to say, Heather, that I think it's really important our moms in real estate realize, is that a lot of times when you're signing up with different programs, you're signing up with different lead sources. And almost every single day I see a post that's I'm struggling. Where can I make more income? Or I'm struggling. Where can I get a new lead source? What I love about Heather and what Heather is offering is twofold. Number one, this is going to not only give you a niche that you can develop and you can bring in more income and raise your skill. It's also going to increase your skill for your regular traditional residential real estate when you have hiccups. But more than anything, Heather is a mom in real estate, and she's a person actively doing this in the mud. So this isn't like having somebody that's telling you the data based off of all the other people they have in the different markets. This is hey, Heather, can we brainstorm this? And that is huge. I think that that's huge to building it. You're already giving me ideas on how I can position to win. And I think that that's invaluable when you buy Heather's courses, that you get that relationship with Heather.
Yep, it's me, all me in there. I'm very easy to get a hold of. In fact, I just had someone email me an issue on a short sale with solar panels. So I usually will make a video explaining that, and then I like to post it in the community, so that way it's you can search for it later on when you have those types of issues.
So we have 2 more questions, and then I have one question, Heather. So you said 172 bankruptcies, and I was oh, I just ran with that, but I don't actually know. Is that high? Is that low? I mean, this is a small rural, market. So is that a pretty high number of bankruptcies?
I would say for that market, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so it breaks it down by area too.
Yeah. So like you can like, so this looks like a lot. So let's skip that one. But so like here's a house. So you know that they're in bankruptcy from this red pig, okay?
Okay.
And you know it's James because he has a pig, and Deborah doesn't have a pig. So, so see, here's the thing. I didn't set up a bankruptcy search for you, Randy. Okay, so some of these are going to be old. That's where like there's a certain way to set it up. So we had Property Radar come in and do a dedicated training just on that. See, these are saying open for some weird reason because see, this was in 2011. So there's something going on wacky with that. But the great thing is what's pro se. So see, this is so old that they don't have the bankruptcy data. I'm sorry, the bankruptcy attorney. But I would set up a separate list for auction and a separate list for bankruptcy. This is a very small community. So if there's no one else doing this, I mean, even if you only close a handful of deals, just imagine what it could be for you, even for regular real estate down the road. So if you come at it as like, I'm the specialist in this area, people start to say, hey, I trust you. Do you do other sales? Yes, I do. So like a guy that got my letter last summer, it was a no then. I'm still talking to the guy. He called me last week and said, hey, my ex-wife wants to sell a property that was the house I was telling you about. No mortgage, and her daughter wants to buy, and her daughter needs to sell in another town. So that's 4 deals just from a 73-cent postcard. But there's a lot of opportunity here in this area.
Okay, so one of the questions we have online is, what do I say to a seller who's in denial or embarrassed about their situation?
Yeah, so I don't love scripts. I am not a script person. And we do teach this, that there is lessons inside of the course because it is going to be a little bit different if it's an auction or if it's a pre-foreclosure or if it's a bankruptcy. Okay. The biggest thing here is you need to be a good listener and you need to just listen to their story because they don't know where to turn. They are scared, but I have a lot of empathy and compassion. So, hey, thank you for calling me. Let's talk about this. Can you tell me what happened? And then as they're doing all of that, that's where the questionnaire comes in and you start to fill that out. Because at the end of that conversation, you either need to set up a follow-up plan with them or you set an appointment to go meet with them. So there's no script. I don't like scripts, but you'll start to learn inside of the community the things you should say and the things you probably shouldn't say.
Yeah, once you get that education, you get the confidence.
Yeah.
So the last question that I'll ask today, although we had a couple more, was let's see, hold on. We had 2. Let's see, I'm trying to read them. Are short sales worth the effort or are they too much headache? And how much would I make compared to a regular listing? So that one's kind of loaded.
Look, there's a lot of short sales ain't going to be for everyone. Okay. They're not. If you don't have the empathy or compassion and really go about it as helping the homeowner, then it's okay. Pick a different niche, whatever niche, pick a niche though. Okay. I don't think short sales are a lot of work because I have a system in place, which I do share with you. When to call the banks. We already have all the packets for you. Do I run into some issues where I want to pull out my hair? Yes, and you will too. But that's why you're a part of the community because you can post in there. We'll go through it. We'll help you navigate through that situation. So I don't think short sales are hard. A lot of agents think they're hard and that's why they stay away from them. That should be the reason why you should take on this niche because it will allow you to stand out in your area. You're the go-to expert, okay? And so on short sales, I make 3.5%. So I would say for me, it is more money if I'm doing a short sale. So I don't know. I don't think a lot of sellers across the country give 3.5%. Not sure, But on a bank short sale, it's 3.5%. So, like I have one that's going to be close to like 15,000. That's a good payday, right? You close one of those a month. It's going to lead to other business and probably start to change your life.
That's so good. Well, Heather, thank you so much that we ended perfectly on timing. So we're gonna get this out. We're gonna email people, but tag your friends. Let other moms know that there is something out here that they can build. And Heather, I messaged Jordy, so we might have to. I texted Jordy, who's my daughter and my partner, and I was like, Jordy, I think I know what. So Jordy is. And I think this is important for moms to hear this too. Jordy is the mom who loves to be very task oriented. She likes to be very system oriented. She doesn't like to do she has zero desire to start going on social media and being the bright shining face showing up every single day on social media. That's not what she wants to do. But you tell her how to tactically serve a client and she's there. She's like, I'm there. I will tactically serve. So I'm literally messaging her. She was actually at her OB appointment, checking up on my grandbaby. But so I was texting her and I was like, I think I found your niche.
It is. If you like tasks, it's very task driven. I made you a short sale task list. Whatever you need is there. And if there's something that you think you need, then I do a training on it. So it's really great. Yeah. I have 2 boys. My oldest is 14. My youngest is 10 and a half. I do this during their school schedule. So, and I never evenings. I will take a Saturday morning appointment if necessary, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, and you have that specific skill and the approachability and the safety and all the things. So they're going to make time during their schedule. They're going to take the time off or do what they need to do to meet with you because you have those unique values and those unique, skills.
Yeah.
So I love that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Heather. I super appreciate it. I'll be in touch and I'm sure many of our moms will as well. Bye, moms.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful day.
Have a great day.
Bye, guys.